It's election day, and you are exactly where you need to be. We got a lot to cover. We got some earnings. We got Christian Farmhertz coming on at 8:35. We're going to talk Apple suppliers, and we're going to talk about what you guys want to talk on the brand new pre-market prep.
The volatility right now is really incredible.
Wow, look at that consolidation on the upper right chart.
You know what we've seen this earnings season? Some of these expected moves get even more violent. This is why I have switched my strategy 10 years ago. And if you're chasing, you're in trouble.
All right, good morning, traders and investors. Let's run down the S&Ps real quick. Commodities and futures, we're up 10.5 handles, finding great support at the 57.30 area. The buck trading in the red slightly, TLT in the red too, 16 cents at 92.07. USO strong again, up 42 cents, 74.71. Gold and silver going the same way, just up a little bit. GLD up 19 cents, 253.02. Silver, that's up almost a dime, 29.72. Bitcoin on the rebound on election day. It's up $1,510. I am going to remove my charts, and here we are going to bring in Triple D and AB simultaneously. How you
AB's
doing?
in here too. AB is scrambling and he's going to get us a camera here tomorrow. So he does not have a camera here today, but he wanted to come in and say hi. The elephant in the room, everybody's like, what happened? You know, what's going on here? Why are you guys no longer with Benzinga? We were 11 years, me and Joel, with Benzinga, a long time. And yesterday we were informed that they were going in another direction. So it kind of came as a shock to us. So we have been scrambling here for the last 12 hours because we want the show to go on. They just informed us that they were filling that time slot with a new show and pre-market prep, which me and Joel actually, so if you want the history, we'll give you a quick history lesson here. Pre-market prep, me and Joel started back in 2012, brought it to Benzinga, I believe it was 2013, and they've been obviously sponsoring the show and running the show on their network for the last 11 years. So basically they're going another direction, not renewing the show. So we want the show to go on though. We love pre-market prep. We've built the brand, so the brand stays with us. Pre-market prep, you can now see it right here. And AB is joining us as well. So AB, how are you doing this morning?
I am good. I'm good. I mean, at least all things considered, obviously yesterday came as a pretty big shock to us all, I think, but I'm happy to still be here this morning with you, Joel, with you, Dennis, and everybody else in the chat. Thank you for coming to find us. Like you said, I was always streaming from Benzinga's office using their equipment. So going to take me a couple days to get set up here. But it's good to be back and shout out to everybody in the chat that has come over and found us, and hopefully those streams, get easier and easier to find as we continue to do it on this new channel.
Yeah,
if you can spread the word, I was going to say, if you can spread the word, there's going to be a lot of people looking for us. Where are they? I got to get my pre-market prep. Where are you guys? Because obviously, a lot of people saw the tweet last night. So those people know where to find us. But there's a lot of people who are on Twitter. So, if somebody's looking for the show, spread the word. This is going to be our YouTube channel going forward. And we're going to work on a lot of other cool things for you. Lots of cool things working in the background, maybe some extended show time, and especially, Joel, today. So just as a present for everybody who came here today, we are going to do a special 1 hour extended show for you guys. We're going to go 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock today. We've got some special guests coming. Joel's going to tell you about that in a second. But we're going to let AB go because AB was just coming in to say hi. He's going to get all of his stuff, together, camera, everything, so we can get some continuity going. But he wanted to come in and just say hi to everyone.
All right, AB, well, I'll be talking to you later here. Thank you, Quebec, a super sticker right there, $20. Can have dinner tonight. But one thing AB mentioned there is he mentioned like the chat, and that's why we're here today. You guys have been helping us navigate these markets for several years, and the input we get from you guys, the trading ideas, the karma that we get, it's incredible. So we're here. We're here for you. We want to continue on the great tradition, especially on a day like this. I mean, what a crazy day. And I just real quick, we're going to move on to the news after this. I want to give a shout out to Jason Raznick, okay, who, found the show originally, gave us a lot of great input over the years and helped us, get us to where we're at today on our own channel here. So, Raz, if you're listening, thank you very much. But we got another person
And
in.
again, we just to clear the air, management has changed at Benzinga, so it's all entirely new management here. So the management that we had when we started the show is completely different than now. A lot of personnel has changed there. So don't point any fingers. This is fine. We're fine with it. It was a very it was a call that surprised us, but we're okay with it. They're okay with it. So we're parting on good terms with Benzinga. It's not about hating on Benzinga because they're doing new things. We understand new management does do new things, so we're parting on good terms at this point in time. So we're fine, so don't go hating on Benzinga because of what's happened here. So we don't want to play the victim card. We're not playing the victim card here. We just want the show to go on.
The show must go on, and it must go on with none other than Josh Walter. We're going to bring in Josh. You guys know Josh. He has been working around the clock tonight, getting things ready for today's show. He's going to be helping us out with our producing. He helps us out with our website. He helps us out with a lot of different stuff. And we're welcome, Josh. Little bit of early time for you. How you doing this morning?
Oh, good. It's a new chapter. It's a new day. It's election day. I mean, there couldn't be more going on, I think, if we tried.
Okay.
There's a lot going on. So Josh is the one that created that cool new intro, and he created this he was working on, and he's created this really last night. So he put this together really fast for us. So thanks, Josh, for being as quick as you are. Josh is going to be the man behind the scenes, helping, with everything. And again, like I said, we're teasing some stuff, but we're going to work on some cool new stuff for you. Some educational stuff may be coming your way. Maybe eventually a new site here as well we're working on, but that's just a tease. As of right now, we got the Pre-Market Prep YouTube channel, and the Pre-Market Prep show will continue on. As obviously, as long as we can keep it going. We don't have sponsors now, though. So if you're a sponsor and you're looking for sponsors, we're going to have to. And oh my gosh, there's an ad. Can we kill those ads? There's an ad in the middle of the show. Is there a way to kill those ads, Josh?
Sure. Yeah, I can
kill the ads. Can we kill them in the middle of the show right now?
Well,
I did not know that.
I'll see what I can do. Yeah.
No ads. So, okay, sorry and apologize that an ad popped on here, but it did pop on mine in the middle of the show. So we're going to try to make sure there's no ads in the middle of the show. I know they had that before. This is not the way we want to do it. So no ads. So maybe to start the show and that's it, but nothing in the middle of the show. So Josh will figure that out. Sorry if they did pop on because I had an ad pop on for me. I'm watching the show in the background. So apologize for the ad. We'll make sure no ads in the middle of the show tomorrow.
Okay. Are we all done with that stuff? Are we ready to start a new chapter here on Pre-Market Prep here, November? What else is going on today, Dennis? Is there anything?
I don't know. I think there was something going on. I can't remember. I'm scratching my head. Was there a big earnings report, or was there? Man, what? Oh yeah, it's because I'm Canadian, Joel. That's why I forgot. It's the U.S. election day. It is D-Day. We're talking about D-Day or H-Day, Donald Trump or Harris. We don't know who the winner is going to be, and I'm telling you, the one thing I'm fairly certain about in this election, it's going to be contested, and we're not going to probably know who the president is tomorrow. Maybe it's going to be a landslide victory, but I think it's going to be close, and it's going to be one of those where we're like, well, we don't know who the president is at this point in time. I think that might be what happens here today.
Yeah, you know what? It's a big day in our country, and let's just hope that I'm just saying both turn out. Let people have a say in how our country is run, and everyone, if you haven't voted, get out there and vote. Make your voice heard, and that's all I'm going to say on this. So, what earnings report? Where do you want to go, Dennis? I'm going to pop my chart up here. Me and you, we're running not solo, but duo here. I guess everyone's favorite stock. How about Palantir?
Palantir, start with the earnings, and there's two AI story stocks of the day here, the AI stocks report. It's Palantir and ALAB. And the AI story is still hot and continues. And is there any stock that has really been hotter this year than Palantir. I mean, look at, where we started the year to where we are now is very impressive. $16 a share to 47. And where we were a year and a half ago when I liked Palantir and I was remember talking about this thing back in April or May, and this is kind of why I hate the stock, because I was long the stock at $8 and I talked about it being a great AI play. And I talked about, that being the stock that they have right on the site when we were looking for AI plays that hadn't gone yet because NVIDIA was running and running and running. And this was back in, April of 2023. And I had the stock and I sold the stock on some shakeout or something. And I'm looking back and I never got back in, and just, a really bad trading by me. But I hope some people participated. Palantir has been an unbelievable stock for a long time here. We could go to the earnings parade here. I'll give you those earnings. PLTR reporting last night. Earnings of, just bringing it up, 6 cents. They raised full year guidance, so 6 cents versus 4 cents, 725 million versus 701 million. The revenue, they raised revenue guidance to 2.8 to 2.809 versus 2.75, and they also raised Q4 revenue as well. So the beat, raise, and the stock off to the races here. Not too far off, Joel, from pre-market highs.
No, and think about this. Think about the environment that we're in. AI, right, which they are participating, and wars and defense, and they kind of do both, right? So they got a double catalyst behind them,
That's
and
true, actually.
yeah, I mean AI and defense. I mean, we've seen what some of these defense stocks have done. I'm just that initial 4 a.m. spike. Dennis, was this trading on Robinhood last night, or did you?
Oh yeah, they always do that. That's what they do. But where was the 4 a.m. spike? Was there a spike?
47. Well, we're pretty close
We're
to
there.
it. Yeah.
Yeah,
40,
we're kind of at the highs.
yeah.
I mean, this stock ripped. We've seen a lot this earnings season where they rip and they dip, and sometimes they reverse, and sometimes they continue, but they're choppy. This was not the case. This stock ripped on the initial earnings report and has just stayed up. So the news algos definitely winning on this one, because the news algos just take off and take 43, 44, 45. They buy it all up and boom, they open it up, and then they hope that they're going to get out the higher price. On the reversals, the news algos lose. But on these types of trades, this is where they make up for it, because they bought the stock at 42.5, 43, 44, 45. Everybody who's just sitting out there. And that's why I always say we're going to do a lot of strategy on the show now, too, because we have more time. We're going to talk, break down different strategies. What I always say is on an earnings report, don't have your order just sitting out there anywhere within the expected move, because, you're going to get picked off if it's in your direction. You won't get filled if it's the other direction. So if you're sitting there offering 42 on Palantir, it's kind of a lose-lose situation, because if they miss, the stock's going down, you're not going to get filled in that sell order. And if they really kill it, it's going to go 42 and it's going to be 46. And you're like, why did I sell at 42? So I always think I do sometimes place orders, but I place them outside or at the expected move. It's really important to look at your options. We're going to have CC Legator coming on here too. He's already talked about, not today, but we're going to be bringing him on too. And he's obviously one that teaches us lots about the expected move. But the expected move, if people have it, I don't even know what it was on Palantir. I'll quickly look it up. Again, if you're just joining us here and you don't know how to calculate the expected move, all you do is go to the closest options expiration, which is November 8th, add up the calls and the puts at the same strike. So we could take like the 41.5 from where the stock closed to 41.41. The calls were going for 276. The puts were going for 280. That's about $5.50 with the expected move, or $5. My math bad? Around $5.50. Look at this. Lo and behold, the stock's up 580. Those expected moves, folks, that's probably the most useful tool you can use when you're looking to earnings.
All right, you said the expected move was 580.
550. It's up 580.
Wow. And explain on the downside too.
So if you were going on the downside, you take off the 550. So the expected move is 550 up or 550 down, but that's the expected move. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to move that much. It's just kind of giving you an overall range. So, I mean, if the stock was to disappoint and was tanking on the news, and that wasn't the case here, then you'd start to think, well, the expected move around 550, you're probably going to see support around 36. The opposite happened here, where they had the beat raise. So then you start thinking, well, you probably get, resistance up near the expected move, which is around 47, 47.20. It's not a coincidence, folks, that stock starts to stall out here. It doesn't work 100% of the time. Like we always say, Anchorman, but if it works, 60% of the time, it works every time.
Tough call here. I did give you that pre-market high at 47.77, but the fact that we're bid up here at this point, I use that as minor resistance. If you have a target anywhere in this area, see if you get taken out at 48. If you get taken out at 48, see if you get taken out at 48 and a half. If you get taken out 48 and a half, throw a little bit more out at 49. But if they're not taking your offers, you know that sellers are getting ready. A lot of volume is traded, so they'll be able to sweep up the stock in the book here. If you're just one of those traders that are like, hey, it's up 580, it's going up 680, it's going up 780, you're buying this off the hop, well, you better get some instant gratification. If you're buying this off the hop and you're down 20, 30 cents in it, it comes back to that opening price, keep it on a swivel. Also, if you go up, let's say you rocket to 50, you'll open at 49, you go to 52, and then you come back down through that area. The open is where a lot of traders, a lot of institutions should, take positions in the market. So keep an eye on that opening print. A little bit longer term, the former all-time high was 45.07. So it need to drop $2.24 in order to get back to that former all-time high, and that was like a triple top too. So there you go, Palantir moving here on election day.
Other earnings from last night, and we're going to get to an election talk. And just to preview, Christian Fromhertz is joining us here at 8:30, so he's going to join us in 14 minutes here. We've got some potential other guests here as well. Again, we're scrambling a little bit today. Is Kenny coming? Kenny's confirmed.
Yep.
What time's Kenny coming?
Kenny's coming at 9:15. So
we have Kenny Glick coming at 9:15 as well, so hit the bid. So we've got some good guests for you here today, but we're going to continue on the earnings parade, and then we're eventually going to do an elections preview too. And stay with us here, folks. Just for those who are just finding us and joining us here now, we're doing an extended show for you here today for everybody who joined us here and came over 8 to 10 o'clock. We're going to stay on with you for 2 hours here today. So let's go to the next earnings stock, though. NXPI. Moving here, going to move the semiconductors obviously as well. Stock is trading down 15 points. I'm going to bring up the earnings here for you in a second here. Scrambling here for my news sources here as well, but we're going to figure that out too. 345 versus 343, so they beat, and the revenue was in line, but the problem is the guidance, and the guidance was light. The estimates were way up at $3.64. They're looking Q4 EPS at $2.93 to $3.33. So when you get the beat in line, miss on the guidance, we know guidance trumps all. So stocks lower guidance, they almost always go down. If stocks raise guidance, they sometimes go up, they usually go up. But when they lower guidance, it's like when an analyst comes out with a sell rating. It's when they come out with a buy rating, stock usually goes up, and they come out with a sell rating, stock almost always goes down. So sells, missing guidance, move stocks more. NXPI getting hit really hard here this morning. It's down 14 points.
Okay, so before I saw that pre-market low of 216.23, I would have been looking at this 220 area. You had a couple lows, 1885 back in April. You kissed it back on September 11th, and you got a couple other lows buffing that area too. So right now, you had to bounce off that low. You tried to pop, and then on the retest of that low, you stopped even before that 220. So I think right now I would be like, I didn't cover my short on this initial drop. The daily chart says 220. See what happens there, and then also the two pre-market low at 216.33. On days like this, it's always tough to find resistance, and right now I would say, I don't know if it was an 8 o'clock funky 8 o'clock print or not. Nope, that actually happened on the 7:30 bracket. It doesn't look like you're going to have to buy into strength until we can get above 225, and we're only $1.10 away from that. So let's call the early range here. Let's see what the bulls can do between that pre-market low 216.33 and 225. Dennis, what are the biggest movers with this stock? I know we've already had some chip stocks report, but
well, I mean, all the chips can move with it to a certain extent here, but they don't have to. I mean, there's others. This one is funny sometimes, and again, we've had a lot of them already report too. So when you get one later in the session, it's like they've already reported. And if you look at the SMH overall, it's up here today. So NXPI really isn't moving a lot here today, probably because it's one of the last to report. most of them have already reported. One other thing to consider here too is the expected move. We just talked about that. It was $17, Joel. It's amazing how the expected move holds these things up. So, it's down 16 here today. You were talking about a 220 low. 220 would exactly bring us to that 17-point expected move here. So, again, if you're making trades and you're going outside and buying stocks above the expected move or shorting them below the expected move, just remember a lot of times those expected moves hold. They don't always. Sometimes you get some crazy moves. Tesla was twice its expected move. But, just keep in mind when you're getting towards, a stock, it's getting lower and it's coming down, it's getting hit really hard. You think, oh, this is really going to start falling now because it's down 15. It's going down 30. Just remember, where the expected move is. If you're trading earnings, it's so important to know that.
Yeah, and just think about people that, maybe took a shot on the puts here, people that have access to trading, after hours and pre-market. If you have a 230 put or a 235 put, you pick up the stock at 218, right? It gives you a little bit of flexibility. So that comes into play. But man, this thing peaked a while ago. You're making a new low of the move here. You got bad guidance. I don't know where that doesn't seem like we get a lot of analyst ratings on this stock. So I don't know if you're going to get the old downgrade tomorrow on this one. But that's how NXPI is shaping up here, down 1538,
I can
221.
stop with another teaching tool here too, and I'll even teach you, Joel, because I follow the ratings so well here. So a lot of times what you see, if the company reported last night, which NXPI did, the downgrades would actually come this morning. If they report this morning, those downgrades typically come the next day. So just keep that in mind, So if you got analysts chasing, and I didn't look to see if there was any NXPI downgrades here today, but if you do have them chasing, they probably already come in. So I don't see any jumping out at me here this morning. Maybe a lot of analysts have already chimed in, on semiconductors here too. So lots of companies, a lot of mid-tier companies reporting, not a lot of huge companies, but I want to go to one that we don't talk a lot about on the show, Astera Labs, because this is another one. New company, IPO last year, 2023. Oh, no, it was this year. It was this year. Yeah, it was 2024. It was back in March of 2020, just this year. So newer company. It's a company I trade every once in a while. It's a bit of a wild child, ALAB, but they did report here as well. And this is also an AI story stock too. And, you wonder if this doesn't maybe kickstart it. Obviously, it's a huge move, and I'm sure this is above the expected move. But if we just get the ALAB earnings for you, 23 cents versus 17, and the 113 million versus 97 million. So the beat and the beat. And they do have, revenue guidance that they're moving up here as well. So ALAB reporting a pretty good quarter here. The expected move, Joel, do the technicals. I'll go grab that.
Wow, do the technicals on something that just is up 1635.
Is that new all-time high?
No, it's not. That's a very good question. Yep. New all-time high is 95.21. Not sure why you had this gap and go back in October. Street kind of leaning the wrong way into the report. You kind of had a bad day yesterday. What I do here, I look at that pre-market high at what is that pre-market high? 80, 88.95. Now you leak $4. Okay, so this is different. This is a little bit different than your Palantir, right? Your Palantir, they're like, I'm bid up near the high. Come and get me. I don't know if they're bidding it up to pop the open, but this one's a little bit different because now you got some bag holders here, believe it or not. If you chased it too far, $89. First thing you want to see on this move is this thing get back up there. Get back up there to the pre-market high. Show everyone how they're wrong, and then keep on going. On the dailies, let's see if we have any confluence here. Daily high 88.59 on April 29th. I'd be out there ahead of that. That's $2 away. That was that daily high there. If you get taken out, look for the pre-market high. All-time high is 95.21. And just another lesson on this one. I know we don't have Eric Kroll on today, but how about the IPO ramp, right?
Yeah, and the IPO dump, where Eric always talks about that. You get the hype right after the IPO, and then you see typically, weakness you see pretty much immediately, like a couple days afterwards. Like sometimes the underwriters will hold the stock up on the first day, but then they let it go, and then you often see weakness. Like even back to like Facebook and stuff. Remember, Facebook was IPO at like $38. It went down like $17 or $18 way back in the day. Obviously, it's $500 here now. But I mean, you often do see. So, if you're learning IPOs, Eric Kroll, who we have on the show and we'll continue to have on this show, is a great follow as well. But he always talks about that weakness after. But sometimes you get the turnaround stories. And you know what? ALAB has, the AI story behind it here. So that probably helps it as well. Expected move on this, Joel, believe it or not, was 13 points too. So you're outside that expected move, but not by as much as you'd think. It's up 16.5 here right now. But keep that in mind. We are above the expected move here right now. Expected move would have put it down nearer to 83.
Yeah, little consolidation phase too down here where, the institutions, do I like it? Do I don't like it? You had that consolidation phase a little bit earlier in the year. I went to the weekly on here because you don't have as much data, right? So there you go. Get the weekly data in there. So congratulations to shareholders in Astera Labs here making a big move on election day.
You want to move away? Oh, one more. We'll do one more from last night. Cirrus, CRUS. We're going to do Cirrus Logic here. Another Apple supplier biting the dust. I mean, we've already heard Apple's earnings and they were fine, but it's so interesting because we've had so many, seems like, misses from the Apple suppliers. Obviously, Cuervo, I always say that one wrong. Corvo. It's Corvo, it's a hard one to say. QRVO just got hammered last week. Falling obviously on their earnings report down about 30 points from 100 to 71, and no bounce to be had at all. And it dragged SWKS down with it too, another Apple supplier, which is Skyworks Solutions. That dragged that one down as well. Well, quiet little one, which is another Apple supplier, is Cirrus Logic, CRUS. That stock's down 13 points here too. So all these Apple suppliers here not doing that great. Apple still holding up, but man, the part suppliers aren't doing that great.
All right, down 13, 14. Nice gap to fill here. You're in the gap area. You got a step down seller here. We're at the lows of the pre-market session. They're like, get me out, bid. Walking into the pit, wanting to get short, saying, bid, give me a bid. Sold, and then offering it lower. Let's see. I would just be tempted. Can I get a gap fill in here at 92.49? Oh boy, I don't know. That might be asking a little bit too much. That's down $18. The lowest level, the interesting area where you're at right now, they're trying to defend that gap area as you have a low at 97.77. So no price discovery here going back all the way to May in this area. So take a look at it. And then if you're thinking this is the dip to buy, Apple supplier, whatever, and I just call it Cuervo. Because you know what? I'm not going to mess with the QRVO.
You don't like the Cuervo?
No,
I like Cuervo too because of the tequila.
Exactly. The
Jose Cuervo. That's its new name. We're now calling it Jose Cuervo. Jose Cuervo. We rename stocks on pre-market prep. This is now Jose Cuervo.
The guys I used to hang out with, they were so tough. We used to fight over who got to eat the worm at the bottom of the bottle.
They say that's crazy. I never did eat the worm.
Yeah. I had a tough gang I hung out with. But anyways, if you're thinking that, boy, if you're thinking this is a dip buying opportunity, I don't know, man. That QRVO has not got out. But let's just do a quick technical on Apple here. Just dangling. We mentioned that 220 area defending. I mean, is Mr. Market going to come to the rescue on this one again? And just pick it up.
Seems to. It's the stock that just can't go down on bad news. It's a stock that can't go down even when Warren Buffett is a massive seller. It's the stock that can't go down on sell ratings. It's the stock that just shrugs off every single piece of, concerning news that we seem to get. So I don't know what's eventually going to take Apple down, but I've been out for a while. I got out too early. I sold the last of my stock at 185 that I had in my portfolio for 10 years because I thought it was fully valued. And obviously that was not the case. So I don't know what to say. I think eventually Apple's going to fall, but maybe the AI story continues to just elevate stocks. We have 15 seconds. Josh Walter all over in the background here. September U.S. trade deficit is expected at 8:30. There he is. Forecast. Josh, what's this U.S. trade deficit number? Is this going to be a market mover? I always miss the economic numbers. That's why we'll have AB on here tomorrow. He'll keep us honest there too. But Josh is all over it.
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah, expected deficit 84 billion. We're gonna see what it comes out as any moment here. I mean, as far as economic data and moves go, this isn't a huge one. I don't think. It's not as big as say, Fed Chair Powell speaking on Thursday.
Yeah, this isn't
That's
going to
going to
be
be a
one
bigger
that's going
one.
to be a market mover. I didn't even go wide. I stayed out there for it, folks. So we're just waiting for that September U.S. trade deficit number here. The expectations were for minus 84 billion. Is that what it was?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, we're waiting on that number. We'll get that here for you in a
Yeah,
second here.
yeah,
But it
not
looks like the S&P does not care at all. So I guess, this
mm.
looks like a nothing burger.
Yeah, I just want to real quickly just go into the technical setup here, and I'm just purely technicals, nothing to do with politics, nothing to do with the election. We know that there could be a lot of different reactions, but the bulls are really digging in here. I mean, this was some lows. Look at that. You had like a what's five? Quintuplet?
Quintuple.
Sorry,
I always say quintuple. Am
quintuple.
I saying that wrong, Josh? Josh is an English. He can
Quintuple. I mean, whatever.
quintuple.
Tomato, tomato. But trade balance came in
Quintuple.
yeah, slightly lower at 84.4 billion. Yeah, so not a big move there, but I do
No
see
move in the
someone else in the
S&P.
background too.
Okay.
I'm just saying there's major support here, and I'm just looking at here. You had all these lows here, then you had the lows earlier in the week. It was defended today, so that's my line in the sand on the downside here, and then coming back on the upside. We got what 59. We've had basically a 200-point break. So, getting back up to this 5,800, 5,830 level, getting back half of that move if we get some kind of surprise reaction and a big move. But you can tell, the market, we had that big day. I believe that was was that Thursday, Friday? Big day on Thursday, Friday. We're okay. Monday, almost an inside day, and Tuesday. So market participants here a little bit on the sidelines ahead of a big election day, and I'm sure we'll be getting a lot of coverage on that.
Do we have our first special guest here in the background yet, or we're still waiting on him? Josh will let
Uh,
us know. Josh will let us know in the background. Josh is
Hey,
producing the background. We'll leave that up to him.
yeah, let's bring him on. I know you guys like to wait till 8:35, but hey, we do
We're bringing
things
him
a
on
little bit.
early. It's special here today, and this person has been with us for years and years and years. So very, suiting that our first show away from Benzinga, we bring on one of our guests that have been with us for a lot of years. There he
Welcome.
is.
Morning, guys.
We'll get that special. Josh's going to produce some special guest thing coming on here too. So we'll get him to.
Yeah,
He got us a
didn't have
nice
enough
intro
time.
here. We'll keep Josh
Yeah,
working in the background on all that stuff here.
Joel has to hum some type of intro video or something. But
Yeah, we'll get that.
Christian from Hertz.
congratulations,
Trade Group.
guys. Congratulations. It's great to see you this morning. And as always, it's about the people. So you guys do a tremendous job, and I tune into you guys every morning. So I'm excited for you guys, and yeah. Let's talk. It should be a quiet day today too. You guys picked a quiet day.
Nothing to talk about. There's absolutely nothing to talk about here, Christian.
Nothing going on.
So I mean, obviously, the elephant in the room, besides being that we're no longer with Benzinga, is the election, and we haven't talked it at all here. So we're saving it a little bit for you here, Christian, as well. I've been compiling a list of Harris stocks and Trump stocks. I know you've been helping me. I actually tweeted it out on my chat, and the Twitter was really helping with this too. Christian has some great ones here too. Let's just start into it. I mean, the election is going to be very close. I mean, I'm not going to try to predict who is going to be the president tomorrow. And whenever we get into politics, it divides the chat. So we won't take sides or anything like that. But I think we need to be ready in both cases. So what I kind of want to see is Harris stocks and Trump stocks. If Trump wins, these are the stocks that are likely to get a lift tomorrow. If Harris wins, these are the stocks that are likely to get a lift tomorrow. Christian, what's your preliminary list look like?
Well, ultimately, I think that, like bigger scale, things don't, it's not really going to matter that much. But we did see, we know what we saw. Like, it's kind of nice if you go back to when Trump won the election, that like things like the financials and the industrials, really kind of ramped up and took off. On the other side, I think that you want to look for if Harris wins, you want to look at the clean energy stocks. And it was kind of interesting. If you heard Kramer's show yesterday, in the beginning of his show, he kind of talked about. So first of all, he was like, yesterday kind of moved as if that there was a Democratic winner. So he kind of leaned that way, and I don't know if he said that that's going to happen, but he was just picking up on what the solar stocks and what the clean energy stocks.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's an obvious one, and I think like you can get in the weeds a little bit. I mean, Bitcoin was down yesterday. Trump has been out. Basically saying he's behind the crypto move, and the cryptos were down yesterday, but not down huge. So
Yeah.
it to me, it's almost as if like people are still like straightening their books a little bit and covering shorts and so forth. So I don't know if I would agree with Mr. Kramer yesterday that like yesterday was endorsing Harris as the winner. I think people are really just kind of they're watching their risk and they're covering some shorts in those areas. It's not to say that any of this stuff, and as you mentioned, it's completely up in the air. But yeah, I would be looking at like a First Solar and very simple trades like that. And one name in that group, I always gravitate towards the strongest names in each group. NXT, I believe it's NXT.
Nextera. No, Next
Yeah.
Tracker. Yeah, Next Tracker.
That name just recently reported earnings, so that's a name that I would be. That's a name.
Hey,
that
Christian,
I would
you want to share your charts?
Oh, sure. Let me just get.
We know, Christian, you were just breaking up a little bit with your connection speed there. So I think you're not working from your office today either. So
This is my satellite office. Yes.
Satellite office. The connection's a little bit. I think I was just on your end there because I think everybody else's connection. I don't think the show's lagging. Just a little bit lagging there. You're better here right now though. Let's see if Christian can show. If the charts slow him down here a little bit, we'll take him back down. But if Christian can show his stuff, that's great.
All right, so that's my internet might glitch for a couple seconds here and there.
You're good now.
Okay, so NXT is one name. Again, these charts are not they're not easy to deal with. Right, another name with just like in the solar space. If you're looking at a couple, another one that I would look at is Sunrun. Right, and then of course the one that everybody the biggest one out there, which has been kind of difficult. I would watch this 222 level in First Solar. So that's kind of the look there. I am long a little bit of Bitcoin. What I'm looking at in Bitcoin, just because on a technical basis, forget about like the election stuff. I'm watching in Bitcoin futures 69,620. So this is kind of an interesting area. We've seen these starts and stops with Bitcoin. Right now, you kind of have this. Hey, we're kind of moving here a little bit, and you got the check back, you got the breakout test of the recent highs, and coming into the 20-day moving average. So I would like it to I would add more to my position if we break above 69,620. So
now again, you could clearly see this separation happening that Christian's talking about, because yesterday we know a lot of stocks that were Trump stocks were down significantly in the morning because of the weekend polls, where you had a lot of polls coming, and obviously you had Harris moving into the lead in some of these polls where Trump was actually leading for a long time. So you had DJT very weak off the bat, although DJT has turned and now started to go higher. But if you look, you can clearly see the action. Tesla very weak yesterday. Yes, they can say it was something out over in China, but mostly it was the Trump stuff. You obviously had a lot of other stocks that were week yesterday off of just looking at PHUN, which is another Trump one. RUM is another Trump one. And then you had the solar stocks was ripping yesterday because Harris moving up in the polls. They turned though, they turned intraday. So again, I don't think anybody has certainty here. It's going to be close, Christian. This election's going to be a lot closer than a lot of people think it's going to be. In my opinion, I think it's going to be close. I think the market thinks it's going to be close, and that's why this uncertainty going in, where DJT was flying for a while, then getting killed the last few days, now trying to bounce back a little bit here overnight. And you know what else is really cool is if you look at the expected moves here, it's almost like an earnings event. Like First Solar, I don't think First Solar has already reported, so I don't think they report. You know what the expected move is here, Joel, for the next November 8th? So for this week's expiration, the expected move on First Solar is $28. So I mean, that is like an earnings
Yeah.
event.
Yeah.
So
That
they
sounds-
are literally, the options players are like putting on, and unless I'm missing it, I don't have it on my calendar. So chat, correct me if I'm wrong, but I do not see First Solar on my earnings calendar here. So unless there's something else I'm missing, I'm like, that is a really high expected move. So you can clearly expect that solar is going to really move on this election. And it's going to be Harris, it's going to blast off. If it's going to be Trump, it's going to probably get killed. So there's going to be a big move for solar stocks.
The main thing too that I that I come back to too is there's going to be this short-term volatility, and I think like yesterday's moves were kind of recalibrating, what the polls were doing and so forth. But overall, like we are entering, like these are supposed to be the best seasonal time of the year. So once we get so I think like patience is a big word to kind of use right now, because even if we get some type of short-term volatility, I think that what we've seen in the last few months, that short-term volatility and that dip has been being bought. So that's to me the main thing to remember is that always there's always been obviously elections. There's been some elections that have been closer than others. I think you're right. It could be potentially very close, but ultimately everything is going to be okay in the end. And I think the market will do what the market always does and rely on earnings reports and some of the fundamentals. I just wanted to add to, I just calculated the move for today in SPY. I don't know if you guys have done that already, but it's about 70 basis points.
Oh, wow.
So it's a little bit elevated. We've seen the CPI days and so forth where the market is implying like about a 1% move. So it's not that. I mean, maybe somebody can check my math, but that's not that big of a move. So
Why? Because SPY is so bloody insulated. Like we've talked
Yeah.
about this before. It's like the most, like, again, it's got the mega caps in there. So that's what does move SPY. But there's a lot of other stuff in there too. I mean, what's the expected move? Just for fun. It's like an expected move show here. What's the DJT? I want to look at the DJT
Oh,
expected move.
geez.
Actually, I can't even find
You
that.
do
expected
that.
move.
I'm going to look at, I also
looking
want to
it
look
up.
at IWM as
Go.
well.
Go.
So you do.
I'm bringing up the
DJT,
DJT
the expected move is 38. Yeah.
38 points, Joel. The expected, oh my God. You know what the expected move is on DJT? No, so November 8th. It's a $34 stock. The expected move is 18 points.
Yeah.
18 points on a $34 stock. That's like what? 60%. That's probably right.
IWM is 1%. So, but yeah, that's the DJT is
18 points on a third. I've never seen that before. 60% move. There's not even earnings. It's all just election. But wow. It's DJT. Let's talk the stock for a second here, because obviously had the huge run up in October when it looked like, Harris was really moving up in September, and it moved down from 40 down to like $12 or $14 or wherever it got to. And then October, when Trump moved back up in the polls, the stock exploded from the 12 to back up to $54. It's sold off recently here. The problem is, like with this, is like, you can say, oh, Trump's good for, financials, or, Trump's, or Harris is good for solar. The problem with DJT I have is, like, even if Trump wins, this is still a company that doesn't have a lot of fundamentals behind it. So I worry, even if Trump wins, the DJT may get a big pop, but I don't know if you get a subsequent drop no matter what. Like, I don't know if it's going to go red on it, but I mean, if you pop 18 points, I don't know if it's going to blast off to 70, 80, 90 because Trump wins. And it's obviously doesn't hurt that, the CEO of your company or the head person of your company is going to be the president, but I don't even know if that's ever happened before. But I don't know, like, if it's going to be just, it's hard because there's no fundamentals behind this.
And let's, by the way, in trading is a lot about scenario analysis. So anybody, we're going through, hey, if this happens, then this should happen.
Yes.
Or so it's all about, like, it's not so much, nobody's favoring anybody or anything like that. We're just saying, because it's an unknown event, we're saying, hey, if this happens, what could happen with this? And you bring up an excellent point. Even let's say that, X happens, Trump wins. What happens with the stock thereafter? Like, he might have to divest out of it because of implications of being a CEO. So so this is one way that you could kind of think about it. Like, if that happens, if X happens, Trump wins, and this thing pops, maybe you want to sell some premium in this, considering how jacked up these moves are. Because once we do know this, once events are let out of the bag, once the cat's out of the bag, right, and the event becomes known, just like an earnings report, then the implied volatility usually drops, like, and that's the same thing to look at in the VIX. We're looking at a VIX right now. I don't know if you guys have any opinion about that, but right now the VIX has been staying around this 22 level. Do we think that this drops heavily and starts getting back into the teens?
I
I
I,
just want I
I
want to
think you could
mention
be right on
here.
the VIX too. I mean, it's elevated here, and go ahead, Joel. Sorry, I interrupted you.
The
I'm known for
insider.
that stuff.
There was a lockup day. There was a lockup expiration back in DJT here, and everyone thought Trump was going to dump his stock. That's when that was
When
another
was that?
catalyst. That was back in late September. There was an expiration, and
Yeah, that's
people,
right. I
yeah,
forgot all about that.
yep, and a lot of times you see turns on that. But up today, I'll just technically speaking here, um, you are just above the double top here, so hard to do technicals on this one. Way off the all-time high, way off the
Yeah.
all-time low. So
All
we'll
we
have
do is the expected move on that.
All right.
So let's continue. Let's
Yeah.
continue on this list because obviously, you can see the obvious ones. DJT. What
Uh, I,
about Tesla?
oh,
What about
Tesla.
Tesla?
Yeah.
Because this one is so interesting because it's obviously moving with Trump. You can clearly see yesterday, and I know CNBC was saying it was some China stuff. It wasn't, folks. It was down yesterday because of the polls over the weekend where Harris was really taking the lead. And Tesla was down at 1.10 points. Tesla's all the way back up to where it was. And that's because, DJT has moved back up and maybe the polls kind of stretched back out a little bit more in Trump's favor. Tesla right now is linked to Trump. The question, it's such an interesting scenario though, because typically I would think, Tesla would actually be a Democratic stock if not for this Trump alliance, because Tesla is all about, clean energy, EV credits, all that stuff. It's more Democratic. But because he's aligned himself so much with Trump, it's become a Trump stock. Does that, relationship eventually break like that? This is, like let's say we get past the election here, and if a Harris wins, for instance, I think Tesla gets hit initially. But does eventually Tesla, bounce back, from that? Because this is like a temporary relationship here. Thoughts, Christian, just on Tesla being linked to Trump?
Okay, so I think that number one, I think that if you do get some type of volatility in this stock, watch where your support level is, because I think it might be a good buying opportunity regardless. But so the answer to your question, I don't know. It, like, if let's say if Harris wins, then that means Elon, his focus, because if Trump wins, his focus will be on, he will be a part of that administration in some capacity with looking at the government spending. So it may actually, that like Harris winning may actually be a positive if you think about it indirectly, that it won't take away his time and he might be more inclined to spend more time in Tesla. So
Something to
that's
think
where
about
it,
there too.
yeah, it's a very it's very confusing. And I
Yeah.
think just ultimately you want to take advantage, just like you do this in your trading quite a bit, where you're fading things.
Yeah.
And I think you might have a fade trade in regards to if the stock goes down a little bit. You got some support here, like right around the 50-day moving average, and this is a much better spot than where it was. It was at 270 talking about a week and a half ago. You're now looking at a stock that's at 243. For the long term, I think it's a good spot to maybe start accumulating.
So just
When
for
you have a
fun,
bounce, you got a bounce here. I mean, you had obviously that high and then the retrace, the pullback. I look at this as like, show me what happens at 255. That's getting back half of the move and then,
Yeah.
perhaps go up. So I think that, people that got caught that, selling in the strength, and we talk about this a lot, the savvy, the longer term traders, the institutions, like, and actually, I talked to you the other day, and when the market was over 5,900, and you were like, "I'm not buying today." I'm there. There's very few things I'm pairing today. I'm selling into strength here, and that turned out to be a pretty good call. The thing about this one with Tesla, and I don't even know, regardless of the election, I think if this takes out that low from yesterday at 38.88, I don't care what moving average you have in here. when I see these gaps like this, and just like wow, got a gap fill all the way down to 218.72. So there's a technical look at Tesla here. Boy, S&Ps are quiet here, huh?
Yeah.
Every time I
Calm
look at
before the election storm, Joel. And also, just looked up the expected move on Tesla. This is lighter than I thought. It's 16 points. So that gives you to November 8th. That actually feels a little bit light. That's like a 7% move compared to like a 60% move in DJT. And obviously that's crazy. But I mean, that takes you down to like, so let's just say Trump, loses and Tesla gets hit, takes you down like that 240 area. And on the upside, takes you back up 17 points. My air math sucks. Joel was better at this because he beat that girl in grade 4. 262, 263. So, I mean, that brings you back up to kind of the high. So you can kind of see where they want it to be here. But I would have thought the expected move would be a little bit higher there in Tesla.
All right, Christian, any final thoughts here? I know you're going to be helping us out for the remainder of the week. Any final tidbits here on this election day in the United States of America?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think that you want to be kind of possibly like like if there's any big volatility, like I might be looking, and I'm actually like, I would be okay if we get some type of downside initial reaction, because I just think that we're entering such a strong seasonal period of the year. I think it will bring out buyers, and I think that there's been a lot of institutions. I mean, just look at the price action the last couple days. I mean, the institutions are just waiting, right? It doesn't seem like they're going out on a
Yeah.
limb at all. We're right down here at the 50-day moving average. Keep it simple. If we break below the 50-day moving average, maybe it's a spot to just kind of watch, because we've done this here the last couple months, and I think that I think that things, we've seen some very good earnings reports. We've actually, like, as you guys have been talking about, it's been kind of mixed. There's been names that when they don't, either when they don't meet that high bar, or when they do miss on earnings, they fall pretty decently. But there's also a lot of winning stories out there too. So I would be looking at, taking advantage of any major volatility today. I'm also watching, just with the one chart I wanted to leave you guys with. When you look at, if you bring up the weekly chart of the XBI ETF, this thing is really getting, like, the price action is really getting tight. I
Yeah, it
think
is.
this thing is going to break. And again, it doesn't have to be an election trade. I think this thing wants to break one way or another. I thought it did really well yesterday with the VKTX announcement. you know, Biotech was still outperforming. So to me, tells me like something's going on here, and I do like this chart. And again, just because the price action is tight, it doesn't mean it's always going to break to the upside. But I'm kind of thinking that maybe this does start to, break back higher. We've seen that with, if you look back at the last couple months, we've seen all kinds of crazy moves. We've seen China stocks go crazy. We've seen nuclear stocks go crazy. So
Yeah.
why not biotech? So I'm open to that possibility.
Yeah, one thing to consider, and I think what's held biotech back here is probably long-term rates going
Rates.
higher.
Yep.
Because biotech, most of these are smaller companies that, need a lot of financing, a lot of, borrowing money to obviously fund their trials. And with rates, long-term rates sneaking higher with the TLT going down, obviously you can clearly see it. It's probably held biotech back. But if we start to see, where rates stabilize, stop going higher at a bare minimum, or actually start to turn and start to go lower again, I think that could be the catalyst to kickstart the XBI. So I'm long the XBI in the long-term account. I like the setup here to a certain extent. I like the fact that it didn't sell off in the last, couple of weeks with the TLT sell-off here. So I kind of like, XBI. I kind of like the setup with you, Christian.
Yeah, and I think you hit the nail on the head. I think you've said it before. I know, because I tune in quite often, and the bond market is kind of what is referred to as a little bit of the smart money. And I would definitely be watching TLT regardless of just today. But then you got this little guy Powell that you may have heard of. He speaks on Thursday.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So you have that, and I'm watching 93.92 to possibly go long bonds. If not, no trade.
Okay, Christian Fromhertz, a familiar guest here on pre-market prep. Christian, as I said, and I let our audience know, you'll be joining us quite frequently, a lot this week. So go get him, Christian, and thanks for joining us.
Look forward to it, guys, and good luck. Have a great trading day.
Thanks,
Okay,
Christian.
real quick for you, many of you that have joined us late here, Dennis and I over here on the pre-market prep channel today and moving forward. We were informed yesterday by Benzinga they wanted to go a little different direction with their video content. So here we are. We're here to work with you guys, navigate probably the most difficult trading environment that we're going to see in quite a long
Tonight.
time with it. Yeah, tonight on this election. So we're fired up to help
I,
you guys
I want to
in the
expand
markets.
on my Trump versus Harris. And, if we had more time, I could have actually wrote the list, but I'll just, keep talking about them. You guys can write them down as we go here and we'll cover a few of them. But, we talked a little bit about this with Christian, but I want to give like a full list because I've been trying to kind of develop something here. So just going into Harris stocks first, we'll start with Harris. Christian very accurately solar. I mean, this is going to be the no-brainer. Harris wins. It's going to be good for solar. We can see clearly, as the polls, have kind of moved a little bit more in favor of Harris as of late. TAN has been moving back up. Where if you see earlier October when Trump was, looked like he was starting to run away with it, the TAN was really getting hit. So you can clearly see that. First, solar, we already talked, expected move 30 points. Expected move is huge on this thing this week just because of the election here. It's popped up there too. Christian gave you a fantastic one in Next Tracker. That's obviously a solar play here as well. Really moving up the last few days. I'm not sure if they had earnings there too, but it's been moving up. Again, polls are going to, dictate the move here. But tonight, it's going to be all about the election and the results here. So keep in mind, solar is probably the easiest one to put with Harris. There's other ones, home builders. Christian also talked maybe on Twitter about this. And obviously people have talked about this too. Harris going to be, a little bit more of a home builder play. So keep that in mind. If you're looking, DHI, Lennar, KB Homes, those ones are probably get a pop if Harris, was to win. Taiwan Semiconductors, an interesting one here too, because normally I would say big mega cap tech is probably more Trump, Joel, and Taiwan Semiconductor obviously fits in that. But with that commentary, that Trump had a couple of months ago, where he sounded lukewarm to just running in and defending Taiwan at all costs, I wonder if that doesn't, make it more of a Harris stock. Because normally I would put Taiwan Semiconductor with Trump, but I kind of have it on my Harris list because of that commentary. But that's still, the jury's still out on that. Chat, what do you think too? The comment I was talking about, Joel? Do you remember he did that interview a few months ago? And it was in a passing comment, but he sounded lukewarm to the idea of like protecting Taiwan at all costs. Like still important Taiwan, obviously, but didn't sound like as much as like, we're going, to nuclear war for Taiwan. It didn't really sound the case. And that's what makes me think Taiwan Semiconductor could actually be a little bit more on the Harris side.
Boy, oh boy, I just don't know what he's gonna say the next time he speaks. So it's very hard.
Yeah.
He definitely changes positions here, quite frequently. Uh, Man, the AI. I mean, we just have it. The chip stocks. I mean, we still have Nvidia to report later in the week. Didn't get what was the news? We thought this was going to get a bigger bump on. Wasn't there was some news earlier? Oh, when they were added to the Dow. They were added to the Dow, and that
Yeah.
that move, I mean, never saw
Was
the
faded.
yeah, never saw the pre-market levels in that one. So little bit of resistance. That day, I remember talking about the 138 level because that's halfway back of this move that you had. Didn't quite get up there. So we'll keep an eye on that. That was yesterday's high at 138.96. But you got to look at, you got to look when you're looking at the chip stocks. It's kind of hard not to have your main focus on Nvidia, kind of ruling out the politics here. TSM, it did have a nice trade, did come down and fill the gap, trading back up here once again. If you're worried about this being a longer term top, do your retracement 213, let's call it. 16-point move. 8 takes you back to, right around the $200 area. So,
It sounds like we're winding down, but we are not winding down, folks. We're doing a special. So if you're just joining us here now, we actually are going to stay on for an extended hour with you. We've got Kenny Glick coming at 9:15. I'm going to stay on with you as well. We'll take you through the open, which we never get to do that. A special present. This isn't going to be every day, but a special present to everybody who's come over here to find us here today over on our own channel here. So we're staying with you for another hour. So stick with us here. Don't go anywhere because there's some good content coming. I do want to continue on this election trade here as well. Mega cap tech, you were talking NVIDIA. I have mega cap tech actually on the Trump side. So I think,
less regulation.
Yeah, I think so. Also, and again, some tech too. Merger stuff too. Like if you keep the same administration, we know this current administration has been really tough on M&A activity. And we haven't seen a lot of M&A activity because they've been shooting down so many deals that you wouldn't even think would get shot down. I think and again, I'm not saying, this is certain or not, but I kind of feel like mega cap tech could be more in the Trump trade chat. Again, stick with me here. And, I want your opinion on this as well. I could be swayed either way, but I put mega cap tech on the Trump side.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. Look at Google the last couple days. I mean, if you want to look at, the change in the momentum in the markets as far as the polls go, look at Google giving all the way back those earnings gains. Wow. What a sell. I don't know. Did it fill the gap there? 183.33. Heck, it sure did. It went to 183.79. So there you go. I just wanted to go back just real quick to, you talk about, the Harris trade and the Biden trade, Trump trade. I mean, you could have gotten absolutely annihilated, right? If you were chasing the tan, uh, in later in 2020. I mean, you did have the nice move up, right? After the election, you did have the move up, but I mean, it came all the way back down. So,
And that
things
was
look,
rates. We know that was rates.
yeah.
Long term, the election is going to be important for certain companies, but it's also noise here too, Joel. I mean, long term, what's really going to drive solar, what's really going to drive certain, pockets are rates, and what the rate looks like. And I mean, that's, a thing here too. I mean, if you stick with Harris, is Powell obviously probably stays, and of course has Trump said anything? Chat asking you as well here. That's why, we have the chat obviously to give us information here too. Has Trump indicated if he's sticking with Powell? Like, do we know if he
Oh
gets
boy, oh
elected?
boy.
Has he
He,
said anything? I don't know the answer to that. So I'm just asking the
he
chat
says
if
he wants
there's
them
been
out. I
any
mean,
indications
he
here.
wants to be in charge of everything. I mean, for what he says, he wants to. I mean, he's talk about abolishing the Fed here. So I don't know. I mean, we have to wait to see what
Abolishing the Fed.
happens.
No Fed at all. Elon taking over the Fed's job.
Yeah. What sector we haven't talked about in a
What?
long time, and the reason we haven't is because it hasn't really done anything. But wasn't pot all the rage, the pot stocks, right? When the Democrats won, right? That was supposed to be the greatest thing since sliced bread, and they
Yeah.
did get to run up, but boy, oh boy, coming all the way back down. I don't even think we mentioned. I don't think we mentioned
I would put the
earnings.
pot stocks on the Harris side. I would put the pot stocks on the Harris side. And again, this is its own thing too. They've come down so far from where they are. Is there some value in some of these names? Maybe at a certain point in time. We know the pot trade's been a really ugly trade, for the last number of years, and it was just valuation. I mean, CGC, which a lot of people were saying
There
was
we
one of
go.
the best of breed, was $550 a share. It's $5. It's down 99% from the highs. So, in the long run, we always say this too on this show. In the short run, story matters. In the long run, valuation matters. And the story on the pot stocks was an awesome story for a very long time. 2018, 2019, deregulation where everybody was going to be able to just go buy drugs or buy, pot wherever they wanted to. Big pops, COVID, they really got hot again. A lot of the small caps when CGC went from 200 to 600. We know the Tilray, was another story there. And obviously its story is even worse. I think 300 to $1. But in the long run, we always talked about on our show is that the valuations just never made sense. Maybe they do now. We're bringing Tim Seymour. Tim still have a great obviously relationship with him as well. And Tim, runs one of these funds as well that looks at these companies. I wonder if there isn't some value in some of these names at this point in time. Like, I don't know. I don't follow close enough. So maybe we'll put Tim, we'll reach out to Tim, maybe get him on schedule here as well. Just to talk these names. But I just wonder, they've come down so far. Is there some diamonds in the rough here somewhere? That's what I wonder.
All right, we'll check that. Palantir still holding the gains here.
Very well.
Yeah,
Up near the highs.
still bid. Yeah,
Yeah.
actually made a new high here. So buyers not saturated yet here, PLTR. Dennis, let's go back to yesterday a little bit. And I know it wasn't the greatest day for one stock in your portfolio, and you're
No.
always good about keeping your chin up in these kind of types of price action. But you made some interesting points here about the VKTX and also some other related stocks. So why don't we cover that real quick?
I mean, VKTX story was an awesome story when we started the day, and an awful story when the day ended. Had a lot of people reaching out to me. I mean, I bought the stock around $61. I've played it a few times where I've traded it. I've been doing a great job on the trading account, but I've had a core position in my long-term account from 61. Obviously, it got up to 90. It was the great news. The data was decent. This is simply a case, in my opinion, of buy on rumor, sell on news. And the issue was, and we talked about this too, is that the CEO and, on that conference call when VKTX reported a week and a half ago, they really talked up the data. They were like, you could just see that they were going to say, like, they weren't spelling it out, but they were basically saying the data is going to be really good. And they popped the stock that day from 61 to 80. And I think, that raised the bar to a certain extent for the data. And the data was excellent. But it also, had everybody on one side where, like, we all kind of felt like the data was going to be good. It was good. It got the big pop, and it was awesome. And congrats to those people who sold it. I wish I would have rang the register on some of the trade. I did not. I didn't ring the register on anything, so it's come all the way back down here now. Long-term story on this is still intact, but this is a long-term story, and this is still a spec. So I think, if they could ever get one of their drugs, they have the injection and the oral drug, actually, and the data so far is pretty compelling. If they could ever get it to market, this could be a lot higher. I believe this is still a takeout target. I think there could be somebody sniffing around here eventually. But, the story is still a speculative stock, meaning, if something goes south, if the next data points aren't good, there is a lot of risk. And there is always the risk when you're buying small biotech names that you can lose 80-90% of your money. That is a significant risk. I do think there's upside of, like, north of 100%, 200%, 300% if they could get this to market. And again, I think it could be a takeout candidate as well. So I'm still holding the core position. I intend to continue to trade it. So stick with us. This is, going to be a storied stock. You do have decent support down here at 60.
Yeah,
where we come all the way down to.
Yep.
It's the data was decent. Like, some people are saying, well, the data was bad because the stock came down. I don't think it was a case of that. I think it was just a classic case of buy on rumor, sell on news. And VKTX is notorious for not holding gains. How many times does this stock pop in the last year? Pops 15, 20 points and then gives it back. So a little bit on me, obviously we should have rang the register maybe and then reloaded, and we would have felt really good about it. I did not do it in this case. Some people did. Congrats to those who did. It's come back down here. I've got this in the long-term portfolio, and I'm sticking with it for now.
Let's go. Let's see. I mean, this area you mentioned, the $60 area. Yeah, that one day where you breached it, but this one, after the kind of violent move that it's had over the last week or so, you want to see consolidation. You want to see bids being established at an area, let's say between 60 and 63. A little bit of a quiet period, maybe a couple inside days, and then you break out of the top of that consolidation. Dennis, on the pre-market show, you were talking about other stocks. I believe it was AstraZeneca. Kind of when you have the momentum of good news, that was a big move in AstraZeneca, a stock that has been in the dumps, and they took an opportunity to sell the dailies out of that one. Was there another one?
Well, AstraZeneca, so just, to give, because people maybe don't follow this story. So they are also working, on a drug here, and they had positive results yesterday as well. So their obesity, and the stock popped up, and it did the same thing. AstraZeneca's obesity pill, which looked good in early stage trials, yesterday releasing those results. It popped up initially, and then it leaked it, and now it's actually going down here too. So again, a buy on rumor, sell on news event here. To Spinner's point, Spinner, you've been with us for so many years. Jay Rice in the chat. It's catalysts too. I mean, I always say this: stocks want something to look forward to. They love having something to look forward to. And, all of a sudden you get the results, you get what you want. It's like, oh, well, what do I have to look forward to now? I mean, the next trial results aren't going to come until next year. So it's a little bit of like lack of a catalyst, to Spinner's point in the chat, which is a fantastic point, that maybe gets you these sell-offs here as well. It doesn't mean that the long-term story has changed. It doesn't mean that, the stock can't go up longer term, but it means shorter term, you had buyer exhaustion there, and you don't have that immediate catalyst where everybody's getting excited about. So this could be quiet for a while.
Okay, still bouncing around here, up 8 handles on this session, 57.51. Up just real quiet, man. I wonder if it's going to be like this the whole day until we start getting some early results. But you know what? Our bad news stock has some good news today. Boeing.
Wow.
Yes.
A good headline from Boeing? Is that
Yes.
even legal? Is that allowed? When's the last time we have a good headline from Boeing, Joel?
All right. Boeing shares are trading higher after machinists voted to accept a new contract ending the strike. Boy, they got real excited here at that 4 a.m., taking this up to 160 and a quarter. Once
Those
again,
4 a.m.
folks,
traders.
yep,
Get so
4 a.m.
excited.
traders overdoing it again. That coincides perfectly. No, a little bit below the high that you had on October 23rd at 161.47. Let's see if this old resistance here, and we're not too far from it at this 157. I'd say if this is like a signal that maybe Boeing is going to go on one of its reverse marches instead of straight down, let's see if we can establish here a bid at 157. Still a lot of problems, for the company. Still a lot of things going on. Does this do much to change your long-term opinion here on Boeing?
Well, I mean, long-term opinion on Boeing is still a duopoly. And, if they could ever figure out all this stuff, there is some value here. But they're in such a cash burn situation. Like, how are they getting out of their imminent cash burn situation? And, it's nice to say, yeah, they're going back to work. But now there's a 38% raise over 4 years, a $12,000 bonus, 8% match on the 401k. And, I mean, that's more money that they've got to come up with here. So, I mean, just a lot of things, still can go wrong here with this story. And we do have precedents here. When Ford settled their strike, stock popped up initially, and it was like everybody's very excited about it. And then they're like, well, now all of a sudden, we're in a catalyst, well, what are we getting excited about here? So, and Ford has kind of went to the doldrums after it popped up after, they had settled their strikes. So it's never really been a great play to chase these settlements on these strikes. So I know there's value here, and it's been seller exhaustion in the stock. It has fantastic support in the 150 to 155 area. So I don't think it's like a collapse situation, but I'm not sure this is the catalyst here, settling the strike to catapult this stock to 165, 170. But let the tape dictate, your action here. I mean, it can, maybe it turns and starts getting back above 160 and starts to look like we're breaking out. Maybe, it can, go a different way. We're always entitled as traders to change our opinion. But right now, I just kind of see a stock that's got some good support. It's in a decent area. I'm just not sure this is the catalyst to blast us off.
Yeah, I mean, once it gets going in one direction, I mean, it's stalled lately here. Really not really being able to clear 160. I mean, if you look at it with everything that's going on since early September, this has been in a range between 163 and 146. Got through the offering. Boy, I wish I could have bought that offering at 143 here. Boeing trading up 258. We're waiting for Kenny.
Kenny's going to be coming in a second.
Yeah. But Dennis, we usually don't, keep you on here this late.
I'm okay for a few minutes here. I'm trying to, obviously got to trade the open. It's always exciting to stay on with you guys a little bit longer here when we can. I mean, opening imbalances here are always fun thing to look at here too. Not seeing a lot of big ones here today, though. I do see Boeing that you were just talking about. It has 97,000 shares to buy. Projected opening right now is 158.95. This is information we don't often give here on the pre-market prep show, but as we get closer to the open, it does become more relevant there. That will change as new orders come in. Those projected openings can change. That's always a little bit of a moving target here, but just giving you an update here, that there is some opening interest in Boeing here, just from a pre-market perspective. We didn't cover all the earnings stocks here either, though, Joel.
Okay,
So we
let's
could
go
cover
back
a
to
couple of those just before we get Kenny here on. RACE, which is Ferrari, reported earnings here last night, and the stock is getting hit pretty hard. It was leaking. It was down this morning when I looked at it, but it has leaked even farther here now. Earnings from Race coming in at $2.08 or 208 euros versus the $1.99 estimate there. Actually sales were just in line. So the earnings were just not great here, not killing it by any means. Stock really getting hit pretty hard here, Joel. Give us some technicals.
I just have, once again, this is, trading at not the primary market, only 250,000 shares traded a day. But if you are one of the people participating here under 447, three lows right in that area, 46.30, 46.79, and then 46.60, down 27.05. We'll see what happens after that. After that, your next daily low, 437.84. But Ferrari traded down, and actually 98,000 shares have already traded here. It traded 250 yesterday. So active trading in the pre-market here in Ferrari.
Expected move was 30 points. You're at 27 here right now. So keep that in mind, as you start to approach that 446 area here. That's where you'd think you might find some support here. So just keep that in mind. You're coming into where the expected move was.
Okay. It's the time of the show where we bring in one of our all-time favorite guests here on this election day. It's none other than the Warlock, Kenny. Hit the big
Warlock.
Glick. Kenny.
There he is.
Kenny.
What's up, y'all?
It's the Warlock.
How you doing?
It's been a while. We're doing good. We're just starting this show here over on our own channel for the first time today, and we wanted to go to the gun, the person who has been with us right from the beginning,
Wow.
Kenny Glick. So you're one of our first calls here. We got to get Kenny over here. See what's going on.
All right. It's my birthday, too. Look out. It's a party.
No, is it? For real?
Wow.
Happy birthday, Kenny Glick,
Thanks.
the Warlock. Chat, give him a hand here. Birthday greetings for the Warlock. What are you doing on your birthday? What's the plans?
Big Al's coming by, my dad, and just going out for some dinner tonight, and then we're gonna watching horror as nobody gets elected president for the next 6.5 months. So,
That's what we were saying. In all likelihood, the only thing I kind of feel like almost with not certainty, but with like 90% certainty is that we won't know who the president is tomorrow.
No, nor does it matter.
Nor does it matter.
Yeah, I thought it mattered so much. 2016, I was in the Bahamas for my birthday, and we were just like, "What's happening right now? Wait a second." And it's just, I don't know. It's been crazy ever since. Who would have thought, right? All this stuff is crazy.
Was it windy in the Bahamas? Because I went down there last week. Never go to the Bahamas during hurricane season. I had the outskirts, just the outskirts of that one hurricane that went through, and I forget even what the hurricane name was. Only a one, but there was 50-mile-an-hour winds, and they had the beaches closed. And I was like, who the hell goes to the Bahamas during hurricane season? Only I would be dumb enough to do that.
That's funny. Yeah, we got lucky. Yeah, it was all right. Yeah, we did one of those. It was almost like it was like the beginnings of the Airbnb moment. So they had these hotels being converted into these like more or less like rooms that you could just rent for the week. It was nice, very nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
Kenny, want to talk stocks with you here? I mean, the man that brought us SPACs before SPACs. What was Nicola before? And what was, remember that was?
Oh yeah, I don't remember now. I mean, it was so long ago. There have been so many. Like Space was the first one, that whatever that was, and then Nicola was. I forgot. But let's talk about
something with the V. It was something with the.
It was.
V.
Oh yeah.
Isn't that funny? We forget that.
Help us out, Spinner.
Spinner.
Right.
What the hell was it?
There's so many stocks. But let's talk
It
about.
doesn't even matter.
Has there ever been a no-brainer stock? I mean, obviously it's hindsight now, but you get an opportunity to own Ferrari for $50 a share. And I remember buying the IPO because I was like, hey, this is a no-brainer. And then, it did all right and I sold it. I haven't looked at this stock in quite some time. Is there a split in this too, or is it up just tenfold since the IPO?
It's been, I don't think it's just tenfold, but it's been an unbelievable stock, really.
Right. And that brings me to the current one, Palantir, another no-brainer. When I read about Palantir, to me, it's like, oh, this is the CIA. I'm in. So it was like buying a piece of the CIA, and it's now starting to work out. I'm upset. I got upset that I got caught up in the meme frenzy there for a second, which kind of soured me on the name. And then it did crash back down to 5. But once they started trying to value it, to me, it's invaluable. I think they're going to be taken private inevitably at $120 a share.
Holy, are you long?
I am. And, I've been selling puts on it. So I've just been collecting premium. I've never got put the stock. So in theory, I'm long. I'm just waiting to buy the stock back and put it in the kids. I don't own many stocks. It's basically the Qs, Rambus, and that's about it. But
Qs and Rambus. It was always Rambus. You've had that Rambus forever. It's like your legacy stock. You're never going to get rid of.
I'm never getting rid of it. I'm hoping 20 years from now it'll be $120 again. But and here's another one, A Lab. So A Lab is the new Reddit. I know they don't do anything close to each other, but when you see an IPO like Reddit come out, it popped, it dropped, and then it broke new all-time highs. You just buy stocks that do that. And this A Lab is the same type of thing. You had a nice, flurry of buying at the beginning, then it crashed. It's almost the same identical chart. So now it's breaking back into the 80s. Chances are, Dennis, 80 gets you 120. So if this thing gets into the 80s, you're generally going to 120. And that's what I think is going to happen to Palantir as well. And I love Reddit. I mean, that stock looks like it's going to 250 inevitably.
I was just thinking about that this morning, the Kenny Glick, when Palantir was going through 48. I was like, well, 48 gets you 50. We're not there yet here, but it almost feels like it's in the inevitable Kenny Glick. When you get up to 48, you play the 50. Sometimes it's just a smart way. You get through that next level, well, get long for the next couple of points. Is a way, there's plays in there. Obviously, there's shakeouts and nothing is always smooth, but it works to a certain extent here. Stocks that go high, go higher.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it is easy to trade in a bull market when most, the decent stocks are all rising collectively. But I mean, Palantir's a no-brainer. I love the A Lab. Go do some research on it. But I'm still just a day trader. The action's been phenomenal. I've been trading Trump stock every day. It's just awesome. Just phenomenal action in that stock. Just trading around VWAP. It's really nice. And the earnings fades have been working. I trade bizarre names every once in a while, but generally just sticking with the stocks that most everybody knows on earnings day.
How's Palantir setting up on the VWAP here? And I know you go to a shorter term here, looking at it 659. Tell us how it's shaping up here 8 minutes before the open.
Well, right before we got on about an hour ago, it actually was a new long because I don't know if you guys see my charts, but let me see.
You can share them if you want.
Yeah, I get them up there for you. Hold on a second. Present the chart.
Make sure you share the right screen there, Kenny.
Yep.
All right.
I'll walk you through it. I can't see that.
Okay, go ahead.
More or less, if you look around 7:45 this morning, it held VWAP and then it created a nice little W pattern. And at 47.50, it was still a buy. But now you got close to that 49. You're starting to see the fade. You just double topped at 48.89. So now you're rolling over. The moment of truth would be 47.50. It breaks 47.50. I might give it a little short down to 47. We'll see what happens down there. I'm such a fanboy of the stock that I don't even want to short it. And that's usually what I do. But the other one, A Lab, it's a little bit more interesting to short because this thing has just massively rocketed up. This is a huge, huge gap. So again, it's below the VWAP, it's struggling to stay above it. So I might be looking at that one as a short. But, on my birthday, I'm very superstitious. I don't even like to trade because I don't want to ruin it. I don't want to have any losses today. I don't want to have anything wrong happen while I'm about to celebrate and again, it's not just my birthday. We celebrate all week. I get birthday week now.
Birthday
really?
week?
Oh,
yeah. Because we used to do it for the kids. I was like, hey, do I get birthday week also? Okay, you get birthday week.
Yeah, wait till you get to be my age. It's birthday month.
Nice.
Yeah, a couple of weeks before here. So, Kenny, overall, I know you like to talk about the volatility and your UVXY and your different ways. I mean, Is there any way you're going to be employing any of your strategies on that, or is just this market just we pulled back from the old time highs here, another buy the dip opportunity in the overall? Oh, look at it, reverse split there in UVXY.
Well, there's always a
Any thoughts on volatility and how you're approaching it?
Yeah, if you're trading tonight, I mean, when last time when the futures were getting annihilated when Trump got elected, and it became one of the greatest buying opportunities of the year that day. So again, with UVXY down 58 cents right now, it seems like we're pretty complacent. It seems like the market knows exactly what's going to happen, which a lot of times it does. But if you see UVXY trending higher today, if you see it above 30, there's going to be some fireworks to the downside. And if UVXY is somehow above recent highs, which are around 31, between 31.50 and 32.50, we're going to be getting hammered. So it's huge. That's my main watch today, to see what UVXY is doing, because that's the speculators to the put side. That's telling you people are buying protection. That's people buying S&P puts. And the people that do that generally control this market. So yeah, huge UVXY watch today.
We just had the NASDAQ opening imbalances. They come out at 9:25. We're not off and on the show because we end at 9, but we did the extended show. So I'll just give you some lesson there to the listeners there. Apple's got a huge sell imbalance, 183,000. So if you're wondering why Apple just fell out of bed here, just because they just posted that 183,000 share sell imbalance. So Apple looking a little bit weak. That's why that little bar from 2160 down to 2115. The algo's like, sell. The algos see that information, they go. Sometimes those are buying opportunities. Sometimes when I've coming into the open, if something's open a little bit too low relative to where it was trading most of the pre-market, I might take a shot. And on the opposite is true here as well. But other than that, it looks like a pretty quiet open. We'll throw it back to Kenny here, though. Just what are your thoughts here, like on the mega cap tech trade coming into this election? It's Apple, NVIDIA. You pick your poison, but what are your thoughts here on mega cap tech?
Well, I'm all about the Qs. So, we've struggled. We hit the 500 again, and we sniffed all-time highs and kind of failed. So we're right smack dab in the middle of a possible 20-point sell-off. If we break down under recent lows, I think we could give way on the Qs another 20. But if we consolidate again up here, we're still only 15 points away from all-time highs, and then we're going to start talking about November and the Christmas rally and Santa Claus and New Year's and all that stuff. And easily in this market, we could tack on 10% to the upside just like that. So if we get through the election, and even if we do have that sell-off generally gets the shorters on the wrong side. The people that exit the market, they realize 2 weeks from now, I think I made a mistake. They come back in. The shorts realize they're going to lose again. And next thing you know, we start ripping everybody's heads off. And we're up at 525, 540 on the Qs. So again, I welcome this volatility, but right now we're right smack dab in the middle of it. So if it gives way, under recent lows, I think we could give way a little bit more. Still think it's going to be a buying opportunity. I don't think we're going to end the market. The bull market's not coming to an end. Doesn't matter who the president is. So again, I'm still bullish until something gives way, and that would be the Qs breaking down under that 477.50, and then we'll see who's boss.
All right, that stock was VTIQ.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, that was
so much junk. I mean, there is so much junk. And again, as a day trader, there's 3 or 4 every day. And I just have this scanner that picks them up. And some of these stocks, I mean, have you seen that drug stock that what it did? DRUG. I still cannot believe this thing is a $50 stock. This was like 50 cents and it went to 90. So every morning there's it's still just like 1999 all over again.
What's the symbol?
Drug, DRUG.
Oh, drug.
Great symbol. Great symbol.
Just absolutely. I can't believe this thing's still hovering in the 50s. Normally they give way and they go right back down. So this one's actually, you got to take it a little bit more serious. And I've had my eye on it for weeks now. Incredible that it's still up here. But usually it's pump and dumps almost every day, like ALBT today. I mean, look at some of these names. I mean, you got massive action pre-market, and then they just explode when platforms are opening up at 4 o'clock in the morning now. So you're getting activity at 4 in the morning, but then usually 7, there's a whole burst of activity, then 7:45 and 8 o'clock. I mean, and some of these stocks are just $2 stocks that they rip to 5. And when they break through the 5, and if they've never been up there, the old adage with the 5 gets you 750, 750 gets you 10. And next thing you know, you're trading a 30-cent stock at $30 that same day. It's just, there's so many of these on a daily basis. It's almost comical, but it really is. It's every day 3 new symbols.
Crazy. All right, Kenny Glick, the Warlock, on his birthday, his 39th birthday, joining us here on Pre-Market Prep. Kenny, one of our old-time favorites, and I have a feeling we're going to be dialing you up again real soon. Thanks for joining us this
Thanks for having
morning.
me on, guys. Good
Yeah,
luck today.
enjoy that surf and turf or whatever your favorite meal is. So,
Yep.
okay, all right, we're going to let Kenny
Good
go.
luck, y'all.
We're going to let Dennis go. Dennis
I'll stick
Chitty.
around with you. I'm at the Open, so I might as well just stick with you
Oh
through
my
the
gosh,
Open here.
Dennis
This
is
is a
a
special treat. I've never taken any show through the Open, so I'm trying to actually trade
oh
an
no.
Open while I'm
I,
doing a live show here. So Boeing, 144,000 to buy. It's zeroing in now. 157.66. 10 seconds to the Open here. Looking at Apple bouncing back. Now these Opens are going to be right. Microsoft's going to open down. Here we go.
yeah.
Opening up.
Yep.
Joel, quote this out while I try to manage trades.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
All right, let's see. Where was that for? Well, that expected print there in Boeing on that buying balance, it did open up here at 157.47. So not anywhere near that projected price. So the way Dennis probably would have tried to play that one is he probably would have tried to fade it up there at a higher level with a open, immediately open or cancel order. He didn't get it, shorting it above 158. If you did short that buying balance here, you got about a stick in it already. Open 57.47, 57.66 high. Just tick 58.6, 156. So Boeing selling off a little bit after the buying balance. Already went into yesterday's range by quite a wide margin. Yet top of yesterday's range, 56.72. You went to 56.03. Apple, oh, that had, I believe he said a little bit of a sell and balance in that
Yeah, it was
one.
a buying opportunity.
Yeah,
They open
yeah,
near the lows, straight up.
yeah, yeah. But you know what? What was that? The opening print in Apple? Apple print 2180.
No, the
No.
opening print was 221.99, right? Opened almost on the low
Oh,
tick, straight up from the open. So a lot of times what you see is this, opening held down and then boom, it gives you that opportunity to buy on the cheap. Apple is blasting off here. They don't care about the CRUS earnings. Mega cap tech is blasting off. You have separation here, folks. IWM going straight down. You can clearly see it looks like it wants to be a tech day here.
yeah, the Sears Logic after trading down in the pre-market here, didn't really see any of those pre-market levels. Open 10049. You had a little bit of a dip here, but when it came back through the open, the big reason here and we're ripping in the S&Ps here. We just
That's
made
all Apple.
that's
Apple,
all.
Tesla,
Yep,
mega cap tech, Meta, all these stocks, Meta
man.
opened high and went higher here. So it's all mega cap tech here this morning. If you're just going through Tesla up $5, Apple up $1.40, Microsoft open at the very low, down 40 cents. The opening penny Microsoft open at 408.08, open right on the low tick, straight up $3 from there. Coming back down now, it's only up $1, but it bounced $3 right off the hop from there. You can clearly see, it's exciting when you take it through the open. Maybe we should do this more often. Take these through the open. Pre-market prep, we've always done the setups here, but it's pretty exciting because stuff turns at the open.
Yeah, it
Fun
did.
trading. Hard
Yeah.
to trade, and I got about 4 or 5 different trades trying to manage on here, just
Okay.
like
So
that. But
yep.
I'm
All
okay.
right.
I'm okay.
All right. So now what I'm looking for here, that obviously did not get an opportunity to buy anything there. We blew right through mid range on the session. The only way you're going to catch something like that is if you have a buy stop in and you get taken up on the upward momentum. Same thing, the S&P, that opening print 53. I didn't even see it tick 50, then blasted through the open. Now what I'm looking for here is does the market have enough gas? We had a little bit of a discrepancy yesterday between the intraday high and the daily high. Yes, I'm one of the only people on Wall Street that has two highs of a day. And the reason I do that is because I like to see continuation through the pre market levels. Now, we're trading it here 57.65. I want to short it, but I'm not going to. I'm going to see if we can get closer to Monday's interday high, 71.50, and then your true high on Globex was up at 76.50. So there's a range. That's the first area. The way we're moving there, we're moving real quickly here. I'm not sure what or who or why. What's the catalyst off the open here? But we are moving towards that interday high from yesterday. Just pulling up Silences or whatever. Josh, maybe you could pop in here and news us here on CE. We did not talk about it on
There's
the
earnings, yeah. Down huge.
earning.
Celanese. Yeah, it's down huge. It's down 25 points. It continues to leak here. It's your disaster stock of the day. Yeah, I can go grab if you want.
Okay, yeah, earnings once again. Yeah, man, a little bit tough for the trade here. Opened right around 100, popped to 102. Sellers are coming in here, pretty good volume. Traded 1.4 million yesterday, and now I've already traded almost 800,000 shares. You got to keep an eye on the monthlies here. I don't know if you're long the stock or have a short going into it. I do have the monthly support area here. 97.12. It looks like we're going to be there in about 48 seconds. That was your low back on March of 2023. So if you're looking to buy it back at that area here, 97.50, we're going to be at that monthly low here. Are we even going to blink at 97.12? Current low 97.13. Now trying to bounce back over 98. Let's see what we get on a retest here of CE. I
Keep
wanted
the
to look.
tickers going, chat. We're doing a ticker time here on the fly. So if you want to talk a stock, throw it out there in the ticker. We'll keep it going here. Just giving you some highlights. So, wild volatility off the open to the point IWM tanked, popped. Now it's coming back and it's down just slightly here. But again, I'm going to say it again. It's kind of a mega cap tech opens. Why the S&Ps are so strong. Tesla's now over 250. Trump trade, remember, folks. So, we know DJT is moving up here. It's not coincidence that Tesla is moving with that as well. So keep an eye. DJT could be actually a leader for Tesla here right now if you're trading Tesla. Meta is up 9 points. I mean, this stock has just been unbelievable here. And it seems like, whenever the market goes to turn, this is the first one that turns back. It's had a few weak days, but it started to bounce back here this morning. You're seeing smaller tech names rally here too. Upstart's having a great morning here, just quietly up 4% here. I think we get a firm earnings later this week, if I'm not mistaken. AFRM. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I think it's Thursday.
Start moving. I don't even want to look at this stock, but I have this in one of my pig portfolios here. MQ going out of business here. I'm sure that was earnings. A lower open on that one. I wanted to go back to this NXPI here. Boom, boom. Did we breach? Yeah, we did breach the pre-market low. I think so. Let me get. Oh no, was that? This might be right in there. Nope. Yep, pre-market low was you made that low right off the open 214.50. You did breach the pre-market low by a pretty good margin, but you're back above it right now. Pre-market low 1623. Got to 1450 and now coming back up to the 220 area. Everyone's favorite stock, Palantir. Let's see how this opened up.
We talked about it going to potentially 50. Not there yet, 47. So it's been really bouncing around. Opened up at 47.80, dropped, and now coming back near the highs of the session here. So dip, the little dip that you had. A lot of times what you see, another, just educational. We didn't do a lot of educational stuff here. A lot of times what you see is when a stock like Palantir, widely followed, opens, initially you get a little sell-off because you have a lot of traders that, even some traders in certain brokerages can't even trade in the pre-market. So you get profit takers saying, oh, just wait for it to open, I'm going to sell it. It's that little blip. But when you see the follow-through and they come back through, something Joel taught me 25 years ago, when a stock opens and then comes down, but then goes back through the open, sometimes that's some of your best opportunities here. And Joel, I think that's exactly what Palantir is doing here right now, where it opened at 47.80, dropped to 46.86, so down $1, but has now come back through that open and is showing strength. So then what we would often do if we were setting up that trade, you buy it through the opening, and then you set that opening price as your stop out. So if you are playing it from the long side, maybe you stop yourself out just underneath that 47.80 with maybe a target of 49 or 50 here. So that would be a day trade setup here right now, something we're using the opening price and technicals, combining them here on PLTR.
Yeah. Also, if you just waited to take out the pre-market high here, you did got sat out to shake and bake off the open. Let me go to a little bit shorter term chart here as we are, trading, looking at a little bit shorter time frame here. No stopping the S&Ps here. I mentioned that intraday high from yesterday at 55.71 and a half. So far, we got the 57.70 print here. So we'll see. We'll see if things start to thicken up here at this area from the intraday high and the daily high from yesterday. If you're long, if you got long early here off the open, a lot of times I like if I can't catch something early, I like to see that close of the first 15-minute bracket. See if you can get continuation into the 10 o'clock hour. But right now, the market has its sights set on that intraday high from yesterday at 71.50. What else did we cover here?
Race, RACE, we talked about 30 points being the expected move, and we said if we got down near that expected move, it might be a logical bounce area there. That is exactly what has occurred. RACE opened right
Oh,
around the expected move, dropped right to the expected move, 446.15, and has now bounced 4 points off of that. So you got to keep in mind, CC the Gator, great job always bringing us those expected moves, and he charts it so well on his software options AI. We're going to bring CC on here real soon. Maybe we'll give him a
option
text here this week.
options expiration. He'll be on. The other thing that you like that coinciding with the expected move, I mentioned the triple bottom. We'll call it a quad bottom right now. Because you had three lows at the 446.60 area. You did get done. You may be shaking your head a little bit when it went to 446.15. S&Ps have taken out that intraday high from yesterday. Now the onus is on the bulls here. Can we keep this rally going? Can we get to that high, the true high from yesterday at 57 76.50? We are attempting to do that high at 72.75. Still got about 4 minutes before the closing of that first bracket here. What row? Boeing once again
We knew it.
fading here. They
I was
faded
worried
off.
about it.
Yeah,
The,
faded
the,
off the open. You
the
bought that
strike hangover, that's what happens. You settle these strikes and they pop up, and everybody at 4 a.m. is like, yeah, this is it. We got the strike over 160. And then you're just left with Boeing. And now the hangover. And now it's like, well, the strike's settled. Oh, now we got to pay them more money. Oh, we're still burning cash. Oh, we still have a whole lot of issues here. That's where Boeing, it opened right almost at the high tick too, Joel. You never want to see that. Open 157.36. High was 157.66. So it is 30 cents higher.
oh.
And has went straight down $3 since here. The bad news, even on good news day, continues for BA.
All right. Looking for an inside day based on the range from yesterday. You got in past an intraday high, but you haven't quite get to the Globex high here. Let's see if the Bears start to mount a some substantial offers here at 57.60. DJT ripping here up
Wow.
5.90, up $5 here. Is anybody watching the
That's up
prediction?
$10 from where it was at this time yesterday morning, 24 hours later.
Yeah.
Boom. Where it went under 30 and 29. I guess people were saying that's over for DJT. Well, not over yet. Boom. Up 10 points here in 24 hours. What a pop here for DJT. If you bought it yesterday, that I'd probably be thinking about starting to ring the register here because it's a pretty big move for 24 hours.
All right, we we have Josh over here in the background, steadily working behind the scenes here. Let's pop Josh on here for 1 second. Josh, what are we missing here? I know we covered a lot of things during the show today. Is there any news or anything that you think we should revisit here for our listeners here on first day here on our new channel? If you are turning on late and you're saying, what the heck are Joel and Dennis doing broadcasting at 9:43? Well, folks, we were told we weren't wanted anymore yesterday at Benzinga. You guys know we've had this channel here, so we are over here now. We're doing a little bit of an extended session. Josh working steadily behind the. I almost want him to do the intro again. That intro was so good.
Josh put this intro together. So the people who are just joining us late here. So
Can
You know,
you
the
do
news
the intro
again. We're
again
no
real
longer
quick?
with Benzinga, so we've been scrambling for the last 12. We were informed at 3 o'clock yesterday, so we've been scrambling here for what, the last 18 hours to try to continue the show. We were just informed that Benzinga just didn't want to continue the pre-market prep show on their channel after, you know, it was 11 years, and we get it, you know, time for change maybe for them, but we love pre-market prep and we want to keep it going. We keep the show going. So Josh worked very quickly in the background over the course of the last, you know, 12 hours and overnight, and putting this pre-market prep intro together for us. So here it is one more time for those people who didn't get to see it this morning. The volatility right now is really incredible.
Wow, look at that consolidation on the upper right chart.
You know what we've seen this earnings season? Some of these expected moves get even more violent. This is why I have switched my strategy 10 years ago. And if you're chasing, you're in trouble.
Yes, there we go. There's the new intro. on
Josh,
the
great
new
job.
YouTube
That's
channel.
awesome. And he did put it together so fast. Now you got to do, so we're giving you another job for a special guest. We got to get him one working. He'll work on that in the next couple days for the special guest coming on. So
Yeah, I'll work on that. And you know, we started this this YouTube channel, or we're on the new YouTube channel. But what we could have also picked is Vimeo, and they just reported earnings last night. The ticker is VMEO. Yeah, it's a bit of a smaller
Wow.
stock, only about $1 billion, but up about 30%. I mean, I've been watching it spike up off the open, and now it's coming back down. They
What's
had
what's the symbol?
VMEO, Victor Michael Edward Orca.
yeah,
And
the
it's always a fun exercise, you know, like, you know, at Interactive Brokers, they give you the cool scanner, top percent gainers, top percent losers. I always look at that every single morning just to see, you know, what stands out. Now, I typically don't trade $4 or $5 stocks. Sometimes I dabble in them, but for the most part, you know, we're kind of mega cap show. We like the big stocks. I like to be able to move big size in and out. I don't have like violent moves against me. But, you know, if I'm just looking this morning, it's always some penny stock leading the way.
What
Some 52-cent
symbol me
stock.
again on that one? Very
It's
slow.
VMEO, Victor
Oh,
Michael
VM.
Edward Orca.
Oh, okay. All right. I don't know. What do you have for an opening print, Dennis, here?
It opened at 6, low tick. Again, you know, when these things open at the high or the low, something Joel taught me. It looks like it's strategy. We're going to do a lot of strategy on this new show. Because if we're going to be on longer, we're going to be doing some other things. You know, obviously, you know, this was a bonus here today, so it's not every day we're going to go till 10. But, you know, we'll listen to the chat. You know, if they want it to go longer, we obviously got to find some sponsors. We're listening for sponsors. We need sponsors. Sponsors. But to keep the show going as long as we can. But VMEO opened at the low tick, $6. Low tick was $5.99. So basically on the low print. Something you taught me on like my first day of trading at Bright Trading way back in May. I think it was like May 5th, 1999. I started in that Southfield office. Joel Alconin was my trading supervisor there and our manager, and he was trying to help the new traders, obviously, and run that office. There was like 20 of us hooligans in that office. Joel was trying to keep us. I was a 22-year-old young buck coming in late sometimes from partying too much the night before. But one thing you taught me, and it stuck with me all these years, is you're like, there is a lot of cases where a stock will actually open at its high or low of the day. This may be one of those cases in VMEO where you see a stock actually open at its low. Now it's coming back down. So, you know, maybe it's going to breach that, but the opening is such an event. Like sometimes you get the open and a blast off or a blast down. And I mean, that's just important information to know, because sometimes if you get that opening print, you know, and you're on the right side, you may have a heatless trade. And we've already had that in this VMEO where it went from 6 to 7. Obviously, it's come back down. Opening is a big level, so stock comes back to its opening. Sometimes it can bounce from there. Sometimes when it cuts through it, you don't want to own it. I don't know anything about this company. It's a small stock, but just using that as an example of trading the open.
Yep, still holding that opening print. Wow, this has been quiet for quite some time. So I'm trying to look on the monthlies here. Really, there's nothing. Your next monthly high is 774. Let's go to a weekly here. And on a weekly, man, this thing has been dormant for a long time. Yeah, up over. I mean, if you're looking for more resistance, if you can get to that $7, but I don't know. First, let's get to 50% on the day there. That would be right at 650. So people that bought that early morning dip want to see a clear 650 here, get back over. No quit in the S&Ps here this morning.
You know what else is no quit in, Joel?
What?
We got this one right too. Palantir. It's almost at its 50. And I mean, a lot of times when you get 49.80, it's close enough. You know, if you had that target and you were trading this through, and we talked about with Kenny this morning, 47, 48 might get you 50. I'd probably ring the register at this point in time, 14 cents away, close enough. Sometimes you get near the 50, the big whole numbers, just like the Amazon 200, it becomes like a big barrier because there's probably some big orders in the book. You go out there and there is, I can see it right now. It's over 100,000 just on NASDAQ there. That can kind of act like a little bit of resistance, a wall. Just takes a lot of money to get through that 50. So right now at Palantir, you're getting high frequency traders that are selling in front of it at 49.80, 85, 87 because they know they can lean on the 50. So they're trying to get a short on and get a little look at the downside there. So I think, at this point in time in Palantir, I'd probably ring the register in this area. It may take it out. If it takes out 50, like Kenny says, 50 might get you 52.5. It might get to the next level. But right now, 50 is going to be major resistance for this stock. 49.89 the high. So I think, the trade for me would be over at this point in time if I was buying that, at the open and, through the open trade that we just talked about a few minutes ago. That 50 is a big level. Again, takes out that 50 and, it might be a different story, but that's resistance until it's broken.
All right. Let's we got Christian back here. We'll get his observations off the open. Yeah, Christian, hold on 1 second. I gave you that number yesterday's high here, 76.50. We got to 76 even. So you got a big nothing done if you're out there at 76.50. Look like we still got a lot of momentum going here. So there you at. Just like that, back at yesterday's Globex high. Christian, thanks for coming back here. Observations from the open.
I mean, what a crazy move right out of the gate. First thing I've got, at all times I'm watching what Bitcoin is doing, as well as obviously what the indices are doing. But Bitcoin is up 4.5%. That is launching higher. Watch names like MSTR, Core Z is another name to watch in that space. Hood is not a bad space to go after it. It dipped on earnings, which I thought was a little bit of an overreaction. So I like Hood here. I just got involved in some Upstart. Don't know what they do exactly, but I like Upstart here. Kidding, of course. They are AI credit. They have earnings this week, but I really like that consolidation and kind of move out of that wedge type pattern. And that's a momentum name, which is exactly what we're seeing right now, out of the gate. So very, very strong. And I mean, if you look at your biggest movers, in terms of sectors, I mentioned the crypto names. Also, you've got gold and silver. Silver's up 2.3%. Software stocks, semi stocks are up 1.3%. So this is a pretty big risk on move that we've got going on here. The VIX is down about 4%. Those are some of the movers that I'm seeing. But look at the difference right now. The Qs are up close to 1%. They're really moving ahead of the small caps. So it's that regular. I think you were talking about it earlier, Dennis, is the regulation, maybe, a little bit less regulation. Like all of those big cap tech companies have been, in the spotlight. So I think that's what's going on right now.
Yeah, and clearly, the Trump trade is on here this morning here. So DJT is your easiest indicator of that 13%. But don't look any further with the crypto move. That is completely Trump here driven here as well. The big pop, Tesla. Like if I go down my Trump list here this morning, Tesla, obviously, we got the crypto stuff that you just talked about. You can go and look, to Bitcoin, which is leading, obviously, Trump as well. Some of the smaller stocks, Funware, Rum, those are clear Trump stocks as well. But even going, over into like a GEO, if we didn't talk this one, that's a Trump stock as well. So you can clearly see the Trump trade is on here this morning, and you can clearly see it on the other side, solar stocks, which we talked about would be Harris stocks. Solar is trading down here this morning. So everything is
good catch
here
on the
this morning,
solar. Yeah.
But first, solar is trading down 2.5 points here right now. So this is clearly the Trump trade. So I think DJT is a fantastic indicator for you for today. DJT starts to roll over. Expect these other trades to roll over. Like DJT, the volume on this thing is just nuts here. I mean, it's already traded 33 million shares. So whether you believe in this company or not, it's a fantastic indicator for today. Keeping that on your screen. DJT stays elevated, continues to run. Expect that Trump trade to continue. If DJT starts to roll over, expect some of these other trades to reverse as well. So if I was trading Tesla, I would keep very much an eye on DJT here right now because DJT is leading crypto, leading Tesla. leading solar down here right now. So keep an eye. This is, not going to be forever, but for today, it's all about the election.
Yeah, and also, I mean, that's a great ticker to put on the side, like somewhere that you can see it, that DJT stock. But I'll tell you, Palantir and Astera Labs, they certainly picked the right day to report earnings with the momentum, because these things are blasting off to new highs.
Yeah, 49.89 is where you got to in the Palantir. The high freaks leading on the big size at 50. Never traded there. S&P's eclipsing yesterday's high. You got a strong bid in this market here, really not blinking, almost running out of numbers here. Kind of getting an open area here, obviously making a new high on the week. If you're trying to protect some longs here, I still would keep an eye on this 76.50 area, as that was yesterday's high. But boy, really strong momentum here off the open, except for Boeing. We talked about that. Now Boeing down $2.50 on the session. Anything out with solar, you said, Dennis? That was tailing off here.
Yeah, and that's again the Harris trade coming off here a little bit. That may not continue. Like obviously, we don't know, but as long as DJT is showing strength, that probably continues to show a little bit of weakness.
Okay.
I had Taiwan Semiconductor, but I think I move it back to Mega Cap Tech. Just move your TSM with Mega Cap Tech here. I was thinking about putting it on the Harris trade, but I'm moving it over to the Trump side here because you can clearly see it's Trump day and TSM is moving. So I had a question mark to the chat. I didn't know where to put TSM. I wanted to put it on Mega Cap Tech, which is Trump, but I also wanted to put it on Harris because of what Trump had said about Taiwan a couple of months ago there. I moved TSM back to a Trump trade. I'm moving stocks in the process here.
You can't do that, Dennis. You can't.
You know what else? Mexico. EWW. We didn't talk about this. I got EWW as the anti-Trump trade, the Harris trade. EWW clearly down. So if for whatever reason Harris wins tonight, expect EWW to pop back. It's just good, what the market is voting here right now. It's a voting machine, and it's showing you which stocks belong to which group. So any stocks you're seeing down here, not necessarily, but if we were talking about these different ones like EWW, you can clearly see that's probably on the Harris side here this morning.
Check out this is another name that reported this morning. It kind of got lost in the shuffle this morning, but look at Apollo APO. Just saw a call buyer come in. This is a March call buyer that just came in, but
wow.
the private equity, I'm long Blackstone. I don't think it's moving as much. That's ticker symbol BX.
Yeah.
But again, like less regulation, private equity companies, first of all, they're faster moving banks, but that's a real nice breakout to new highs for Apollo. Whew.
Yeah, that's a great point too. Like you think about, those companies that do a lot of M&A action, and it's been tougher under this administration. But if you had a change of administration, maybe that changes, and again, we don't know, what's going to happen. Nobody has a crystal ball here, but just showing you, I think, I would put, most of the financials probably under the Trump trade here. Wouldn't you do that too, Christian? Like just because probably less banking regulation under a Trump administration.
Yeah, and again, you can go to the playbook of last time Trump won and the financials were off to the races. So that Apollo, I can't chase it up 8.7%, but I'm looking at KKR, which is also not a bad name. Had good earnings too. So a lot of these names, like they've come in since that earnings move. So I'm going to buy some KKR here. I can't buy the Apollo up that much, but I like that turn in KKR. It's a quality name. So I'm in that.
Yep.
Christian.
Yeah.
Now,
Yes,
are you intending to hold some of these positions through the election? Because obviously, if we don't, like some of these, are Trump stocks, and if a Harris wins, then all of a sudden these stocks can, come back off. Are you doing some of these for day trades and then maybe taking them off before we get the uncertainty of the election tonight? Or are you just saying, some of these are good companies, and even if they dip a little bit, on a potential Trump win, that I'm still willing to hold through?
So it's a great question, and it really depends on the trade. KKR is so the private equity. I like the private equity companies for a while because, like I said, I think they're faster moving banks, and I would rather be long something that can take a little bit more risk than just the banks. But KKR will be a swing trade for me. Because I've been watching some of these names kind of come in after a strong earnings report. So I would much rather get this name right around 139 than where it was about a week and a half ago at 145.
Okay, wow, what a whirlwind 2 hours here, Dennis. We're
So
I know we're
coming up
coming into the
yeah.
final minute here. Like we said, we'd go till 10 o'clock, so we gave the extra bonus hour. Let us know. Did you like the bonus hour? You know, this is something. Obviously, you know, we're at zero revenue. Obviously, well, actually not, because we got some donations from the chat.
Oh, we
got
really?
some
Oh my
revenue in here.
gosh! I
Some of these
know,
people are
I
giving us some
know.
donations. But you know, we're
Much
going to be
money.
looking for sponsors. Obviously, we want to keep the show free. So we're going to do our best to keep pre-market prep free, but we will need some sponsors. So if you're interested in sponsoring the show, we had over 1,000 concurrent listeners here today, which is pretty good. When we were over on pre-market prep, we'd get 15, 1,700. So we're missing those other 700 people. Hopefully they come find us here again. But we're actually pretty happy that we were able to get a lot of listeners here for our first show over here. We're going to continue. Obviously, maybe have to do some advertising, get out there, but we'd love some sponsorships too. So if anybody's interested in sponsoring us, we want to keep the show free for you guys.
Yep, and
I do have a question for you guys. Are you guys going to bring this type of momentum every day, like today? Is this? Can I expect this tomorrow too?
Always. I come energy. I may even start drinking coffee for you guys.
Perfect first day.
Drinking coffee just to keep up the energy.
My P&L loves you guys.
Oh my gosh,
keep
we just
going.
got another rip higher here. There's so much momentum in this.
Palantir is still fighting at the 50. It's still fighting with those high freaks there. It's caught in the tractor beam, Joel. Remember I was talking about the tractor beam.
We just had another blast of 57, 91,
Wow.
50. I was going to say that it was very thin on the daily levels in the S&Ps. I wonder if you hit some buy stops here. So people looking for that election volatility or just a two-way market just got ran over there. We still are not within the expected daily range. We're expected to have almost a 58 handle range. So getting close to that. But what a way to end the show here. Christian, thank you. I know you're going to be helping out the rest of the week. Thanks for the double appearance. Triple D, I might need to go take a nap after staying out.
I know. You do 1 hour of yelling. I'm going to have a sore throat after this one because I've been yelling for 2 hours here. Christian, thanks so much. Christian's going to be with us the rest of the week here as well. He's coming in because Joel, are you away tomorrow, Joel?
It looks like the airports are open. Yeah, but we'll see.
Joel will be back Thursday and Friday. But Christian's going to be with us tomorrow. We're going to get some other special guests lined up here. Josh will be working in the background. AB is going to be back with us tomorrow here as well. So we'll get Aaron Bree with a camera. So we're going to keep this going for you folks here. So come back. Same bad time. It's a different bad channel, as Christian says, but this is the new bad channel. So like us. Subscribe to us. Come on back here at 8 o'clock tomorrow, and we're going to talk this election results or lack thereof.
Okay.
Sounds great, guys.
Yes.
All right.
Before everybody goes, I have a couple housekeeping items. For those wondering whether this show will be podcasted, like on Spotify and on Apple Podcasts, it will. We'll get that
awesome.
Going.
Josh, you're getting us up there?
We're getting this up there, yes. And also, if for sponsors or people who want to reach out directly to our accounts on X via DM, or if you click on the little YouTube channel name and in the About section, click on More Info, you can get an email to send something to. And then I don't know about you guys, but I think we should thank all the super chats and whatnot, because we had quite a few. Yeah, so I want to thank, and we'll see how these names go here. We'll thank Quebec. We'll thank Slavadabadoo, Therapy Rob, Mr. Gray, Change Agent, Ekut Sahin, Herbert Garcia, Krasimir Koyshev.
Super chats, we love you.
AAMC. Robert GMD, Grove Lane, Travis Mann, and M. Bink. Thank you guys so much.
All right, everybody. Signing out until tomorrow. Thanks for joining us on the new Pre-Market Prep.